In 1969, Brian Trubshaw, chief test pilot for the British Aircraft Corporation, pushed the throttles forward and felt something no commercial pilot had ever experienced before. At Mach 2, at 60,000 feet altitude, the controls responded as if he were driving on ice. His exact words, "Any sudden movement could be fatal." For the first time in history, commercial passengers would break the sound barrier. The Concorde crossed the Atlantic in 3 hours and 30 minutes. Maximum speed, 1,354 miles per hour, or 2,180 kilometers per hour. Cruising altitude, 60,000 feet, 18,300 meters, where you could see the curvature of the Earth with your naked eyes. But here's the shock. That was 56 years ago. Today, in 2025, with quantum computers, composite materials, and engines that consume 25% less fuel than previous generations, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, our most advanced modern jet, flies at just 560 miles per hour, or 900 kilometers per hour. The Concorde was 2.4 times faster. Retired 22 years ago, no current commercial aircraft comes even close to matching its performance. So why did aviation get slower? The answer isn't where you think it is. If you're also passionate about the world of aviation, consider subscribing to the channel and supporting our team. Brian Trubshaw wasn't just any pilot. He was handpicked to command what the aeronautical industry called the impossible project, making commercial passengers fly faster than a rifle bullet, with safety, comfort, and profit all guaranteed simultaneously. During the 1969 test flights, Trubshaw discovered something that would change everything. At Mach 2, air doesn't behave the way we expect at normal speeds. It flows in completely different patterns, creating unique aerodynamic challenges. The controls became heavy and sluggish, requiring extreme anticipation and planning. This wasn't just flying faster, it was dealing with completely new physics at 1,350 miles per hour. And this matters today because after half a century of extraordinary technological advances that put quantum computers in our pockets and rovers on Mars, we're flying at half the speed. And the reason isn't technological at all. The Concorde was born from a Franco-British obsession in the 1960s, proving that Europe could lead aviation innovation and challenge American dominance in the skies. The investment was brutal, £1.3 billion at the time, equivalent to approximately £20 billion or $25 billion in today's money. Over 27 years of production, only 20 units were ever built. From the outside, it seemed like madness from day one. But when the first commercial flight took off in '76, it appeared to justify every pound spent. London to New York in 3 hours and 30 minutes. You could leave London at 10:30 a.m., arrive in New York at 9:25 a.m. local time, literally traveling backwards in time due to time zones. Business executives conducted meetings in Manhattan and returned home for dinner in London the same day. The cabin accommodated just 100 passengers in an ultra-luxurious configuration. Tickets cost $12,000 to cross the Atlantic in 2003 values, which would be approximately $20,000 today adjusted for inflation. It wasn't just first class, it was status, pure speed, absolute exclusivity. Celebrities, diplomats, and Fortune 500 CEOs packed every flight. The aircraft became an icon instantly. Its delta wing, spanning 84 feet or 25.6 meters, and distinctive drooping nose made it instantly recognizable at any airport. The roar of its 4 Rolls-Royce Snecma 593 engines became the sound of the future. But nobody could predict what would happen next. The warning signs appeared faster than anyone anticipated. To understand why the Concorde disappeared and why nobody has replaced it, we need to look at the numbers the industry prefers not to discuss publicly.
Over time, aviation's focus has shifted toward efficiency and comfort. The Boeing 787 Dreamliner represents this new philosophy. It flies at 900 kilometers an hour, consumes only 3 liters of fuel per passenger every 100 kilometers, and carries more than 240 passengers for up to 7,635 nautical miles. All of this comes with a much lower operating cost, just $0.08 per seat per mile. Now, the Boom Overture project promises to combine the best of both worlds. This supersonic aircraft, still under development, is expected to reach 1,800 kilometers an hour, carry 65 to 80 passengers, and be 50% more fuel efficient than the Concorde. Its projected range of 4,250 nautical miles will allow for fast and sustainable transoceanic flights.
The Concorde consumed 6,600 gallons or 25,000 liters of fuel per hour of flight. To put this in perspective, a modern Boeing 787, carrying 242 passengers across the Atlantic, consumes less total fuel than the Concorde, carrying 100 passengers on the same route. The efficiency was 6.25 times worse per passenger. But there is something even more devastating than fuel consumption: the sonic boom. At Mach 2, the aircraft generated a shock wave measuring 144 decibels, equivalent to a nearby explosion or a military jet taking off at full afterburner. Regulators in the United States, Europe, and virtually every other country prohibited sonic flights over land. The Concorde could only use its maximum speed over oceans. Transcontinental routes? Impossible. This single restriction eliminated approximately 80% of commercially viable routes on the planet. The range of just 3,900 nautical miles, or 7,250 kilometers, meant that routes like London to Sydney or New York to Tokyo required multiple refueling stops. The promise of global speed evaporated when confronted with simple geography. Even New York to Los Angeles was problematic because supersonic flight was banned over the continental United States. The aircraft's dimensions created additional challenges. Its length of 202 feet, or 61.6 meters, and unique delta wing configuration required special parking considerations at airports. Gate assignments were limited. Ground handling required specially trained crews familiar with the aircraft's quirks. The droop nose had to be lowered for taxi and takeoff to give pilots adequate visibility. And here, the cracks began to show. In the 90s, airlines began doing painful calculations that revealed uncomfortable truths. Maintaining one Concorde cost 3 times more than operating a Boeing 747 that carried 4 times more passengers and could fly anywhere without sonic boom restrictions. Air France and British Airways, the only 2 operators who ever flew the Concorde commercially, depended heavily on government subsidies to keep routes operational. Each seat needed to sell for $12,000 just to cover direct operational costs, not including the massive development debt or the ongoing maintenance nightmare of keeping 60s supersonic technology flying safely. In a growing market of low-cost aviation, where transatlantic tickets were dropping to $300 to $500, the business model was fundamentally unsustainable. Attempts at modernization failed repeatedly. Retrofits to improve fuel efficiency proved impossible. Supersonic aerodynamics don't allow structural modifications without complete redesign. New engines? They would require completely redesigning the entire airframe. The Concorde was trapped in 60s technology with no viable upgrade path. The catastrophic accident in Paris in 2000, caused by debris on the runway that punctured a fuel tank, killing 113 people, accelerated the inevitable. Public confidence shattered. Insurance costs skyrocketed. Maintenance requirements became even more stringent and expensive. In 2003, after 27 years of commercial operation and having carried approximately 2.5 million passengers, the last Concorde landed. All 20 units were permanently grounded and became museum pieces. Market value today for collectors? $0. None are airworthy, even if someone wanted to spend the millions required to operate one for a single flight. The retirement created a gap in aviation that persists today. No supersonic commercial service exists anywhere in the world. We literally went backwards in capability. Why hasn't anyone built a better replacement? What few people realize is that the Concorde didn't fail due to lack of technology. It revealed an uncomfortable truth about physics and economics that no amount of engineering can overcome. Flying supersonic consumes energy exponentially, not linearly. Air resistance increases with the square of velocity. Doubling speed doesn't double fuel consumption, it quadruples it, minimum. This is a fundamental limit of physics, not engineering capability. Modern composite materials, efficient engines, optimized aerodynamics, all of these help at the margins, but they cannot change the fundamental equation. Let's be specific with numbers. The Concorde's 4 Olympus engines produced 38,050 pounds of thrust each, 152,200 pounds total. For comparison, a Boeing 747's 2 engines produce 64,000 pounds each, 128,000 pounds total. The Concorde needed 19% more total thrust to carry 58% fewer passengers at higher speed. The mathematics are unforgiving. Startups like Boom Supersonic promised the Overture by 2029, 65 to 80 passengers at 1,118 miles per hour or 1,800 kilometers per hour, but they still face the sonic boom problem. No real solution exists. Limited range requiring costly refueling stops, and operational costs that demand premium pricing. Ariane Supersonic, another well-funded competitor, went bankrupt in 2021 trying to solve these same fundamental problems despite raising over $100 million in investment. NASA has invested millions studying low-boom supersonic designs with their X-59 Quest aircraft. The goal is reducing the sonic boom from 144 decibels to around 75 decibels, about as loud as a car door closing. But even if successful, this technology is decades away from commercial application and would add enormous costs. The real question is, can we build a supersonic jet? We obviously can. The question is, can anyone make it economically viable for mass commercial transportation? And half a century of attempts, billions in investment, and dozens of failed projects suggest the answer is no. Aviation didn't get slower because of lack of ambition or vision. It got slower because the industry discovered that extreme speed and mass transportation are fundamentally incompatible under current physics and economics. The Concorde was living proof of this theorem. Maybe Boom Overture will fly commercial routes in 2029, maybe 2032. Maybe a revolutionary propulsion technology will somehow circumvent the laws of physics. Maybe regulators will find acceptable ways to mitigate sonic booms over populated areas, opening up transcontinental routes. But after 22 years without commercial supersonic flight and dozens of abandoned multi-million-dollar projects, the lesson seems increasingly clear. The Concorde wasn't retired prematurely, it fulfilled its true purpose perfectly. It proved we can fly supersonic with passengers, and it proved conclusively and expensively exactly why we probably shouldn't at commercial scale. United Airlines invested in Boom Supersonic in 2021, placing conditional orders for 15 Overture aircraft. American Airlines followed with options for 20 more. Japanese Airlines maintains its commitment from earlier years. These airlines aren't naive. They see potential in premium business travel connecting major city pairs. But notice the scale. Orders for 15 to 20 aircraft, not 150 to 200. Even optimistic projections see supersonic as a tiny niche, not a revolution. The final question isn't when we'll have another Concorde, it's whether we'll ever truly need one in an era of high-speed rail, virtual meetings, and 16-hour non-stop subsonic flights that can reach anywhere on Earth. Because maybe, just maybe, 560 miles per hour is fast enough when you can transport 242 people using 1/6 the fuel, flying twice the distance, with tickets ordinary people can actually afford.